This is the EOS C50, and this is Canon's latest addition to their cinema lineup. 7K, full frame, open gate recording, and 12-bit RAW. I was able to spend some time with this camera ahead of its release, so in today's video I'm going to go through my initial thoughts, some of the tech specs of this camera, a few side-by-side tests, and just let you know what I think about it. If this is your first time tuning into the channel, welcome. I hope you find this video helpful. My name is Jordan and I'm a Central California-based cinematographer. I do a mix of commercial work, documentary work, smaller social media ads, and live event work. So I'm kind of all over the board as far as what type of shoots that I do, but the Canon cinema line has been a part of my main camera package over the past few years, and it really fits into a lot of the style of work that I do. A few quick notes before we get started. Canon did not pay me for this video, however I have worked with them in the past on other stuff. They just sent this camera to me ahead of time to test it out and make a video, so use that information how you need to as you watch this video. So let me just quickly run through the base specs of the camera. This camera comes in at a price of $3,899 US. Has a newly designed 7K 32 megapixel CMOS sensor with a dual base ISO of 800 and 6400. It shoots open gate 12-bit RAW up to 30 frames a second, but if you switch the sensor mode to 16:9, it opens up 7K RAW up to 60 frames a second. You can then switch to 10-bit where 7K open gate is available in XF HEVC-S, or if you switch to XF AVC, you get a 4K full frame 16:9 image. You can shoot up to 120 frames a second in 4K or drop down to 2K where you get up to 180 frames. This camera has C-Log 2, which is a big upgrade coming from the R5C, which only has C-Log 3. For the card slots, we have a CF Express Type B and an SD card slot. Based on what I saw in the menus, I don't think that this can record RAW externally like the R5C does. Just like the rest of the cinema line, there's no IBIS in this camera, but there is digital stabilization, which I find to be pretty effective. You're probably familiar with OpenGate by now, but for those who are not, let me explain what it is. OpenGate removes the 16:9 constraints, allowing you to actually use the full height and width of a sensor. This sensor has a native 3:2 aspect ratio. Think of it as more of a square versus a stretched out 16:9 image. What this does is gives you extra space on the top and bottom portion of your shot, which makes it much easier to reframe your shot, especially when framing for both vertical and horizontal. This is not new technology, but this is the first time we're seeing it in Canon cameras, especially of this size. The Canon cinema menu makes it incredibly easy to create a frame guide for shooting an open gate, so I just went into the menu and set up two different frame guides, one that was 16:9 and one that is 9:16, so that way I can easily just have a reference, and that's incredibly helpful that I can do this in camera and I don't have to use an external monitor to set this up. One new feature in this camera, which I'm a little confused about to be honest, is the crop recording feature. So we have our CF Express Type B, and then we have an SD card slot. You can dual record between these two, and essentially what this does is records two different files. The first one is going to be your 16:9, and that goes to your main card, and then the second card will record a 9:16. So you have one file that's horizontal and a separate file that's vertical without the need to do this in post, but there's a limitation. This does not work in OpenGate, it only works in 16:9, and then your vertical frame is going to be a 1080 video file separately, but it's again coming from the 16:9 sensor, so it's not really, giving you the benefit of what OpenGate is. I just wish that there was an ability to do this in OpenGate because that would absolutely open up the possibilities and I think make this a little more practical to use. It seems like that would be as simple as a firmware update, so I guess we'll see as time goes on. Moving out to the physical side of this camera, one thing I really like is obviously that boxiness of it. And one feature I'm especially excited about this camera is the top handle. This top handle gives you two full XLR inputs and all of the audio control. The C80 and the C400 both have mini XLR. That's not a huge issue for me. I've always just used adapters and been fine, but I know a lot of people prefer full-size XLR, so you do get that in this camera. There's also two 1/4-inch threads on the top handle, and if we take this handle off, we have the two 1/4-inch threads on top of the camera, as well as one 1/4-inch thread on each side of the camera. I could see this being very helpful for car rigs and certain specialty rigging situations. Moving to the side where the ports of the camera are, we have our mic jack, our headphone jack, a port for the intervalometer, and then USB-C, which is also the power delivery. So you can easily run a USB-C cable to a power bank or a V-mount battery. Below that, we have full-size HDMI, and then above all of this, there is time code. On this camera, there are 14 programmable buttons, which if you're not familiar with the Canon cinema line, these buttons can look daunting, but they become kind of second nature when filming, and being able to program them exactly how you want is one of my favorite things about their cinema line. Just like the R5C, we have two menu systems. We have our cinema menu system and our stills menu system. As far as the times it takes to switch between the two, I did a couple tests between the R5C and the C50 on if one was faster or slower than the other, and they were kind of, some were faster, some were slower, but it was very negligible. It wasn't really that much of a difference. So there is a quick little turnaround when it comes to switching the menu system, but it's not a huge deal. As far as overheating goes, I don't think you have anything to worry about with this camera. I left it outside during a huge heat wave in California. It was like 109 degrees outside, and I just let it run, shooting 7K open gate raw at like the highest codec. I just kept reformatting the card and letting it run till the battery died, but it is similar to the R5C in the sense of it has that intake fan and it's able to keep the camera cool so that you don't have to worry about it on a shoot day. There's a lot of similarities with this camera and the R5C, just looking at them side by side. You can tell there are obvious differences. I'm actually gonna make a separate video that'll go up on the channel that is literally just a video of the camera, every angle of them, side by side to each other, not even like talking or anything, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in just scrubbing through and seeing it. I did some battery tests with the cameras because I know with the R5C that was a big issue. They definitely improved with firmware updates, and then also with the LPE6P batteries, which are the most recent batteries, and these are the same batteries that come with the C50. But with these batteries, I did a few side-by-side tests with the R5C and the C50 together. To do this test, just so you know, I let the cards roll out, reformatted them, and then just kept recording until the batteries died. For the first test, I did raw LT 8K on the R5C and raw LT 7K open gate on the C50 at 24 frames a second. The R5C died at 1 hour and 19 minutes. The C50 died at 1 hour, 33 minutes and 45 seconds. And then I did the same test again at 59.94 frames a second. The R5C died at 48 minutes and 11 seconds, and the C50 died at 1 hour and 3 minutes. So there's about a 12 to 15 minute discrepancy between the two, so you do get about that time extra in the C50 versus the R5C. So that's gonna wrap up this video. I hope that this was helpful for you to at least see like the topical information of what this camera is and what you can expect from it. I wish I had more time and the ability to really give you an in-depth look at testing this camera, so I'll plan on doing that in the future. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know what you like or dislike about this camera. But until the next one, I'll see you all later.